When's the hockey guy going to start talking about the 2020 draft? Hi, welcome. Yeah, now's a good time to start talking about the 2020 draft. We're up to June 11th. We know we've got the draft lottery coming up in a couple of weeks. So why not take a look, and we'll start at the top. We'll start with Alexis Lafreniere. On the News of the Day video today, I had the entertainment guy write all the information on the board, so he misspelled Lafreniere. It's bad enough that I only charge him $20 a month for rent. And he's doing that kind of stuff. I might have to take over the Entertainment Guys channel today and do some NHL. And just saying, just throwing that out there. So Alexis Lafreniere, who has been the number one overall pick on every list everywhere for over a year now. We've heard about this kid, and the pressure has to be immense on him to come through and prove himself. And you know what? He did a pretty good job. Now, he's a left winger, which is unusual. Usually your scoring will come from your centers, your right wingers. It's unusual for a left winger to be this good. I know there are exceptions. I'm just saying, if you look historically at the National Hockey League and you look at the greatest right wingers in history and the greatest left wingers in history, usually your best scorers are your right wingers and your left wingers. You're going to have a few guys there, but in general, it's just as from shooting from that side, right? So 2018-2019, he had 61 games played, 37 goals, 68 assists, 75 points, 72 penalty minutes. That's noteworthy. This is a kid that does play the physical game. So the comparisons of him to other players, I don't know. I mean, he's 6'1", 192 pounds. If he adds a couple inches there, can we start throwing in Lindros comparisons if we're going to say, well, he's physical and he can score? I don't like to compare players. That's why I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not actually making that comparison. Now, he's CHL Player of the Year in 2019. This year, for an encore, 52 games played, 35 goals, 77 assists, 112 points. 2.15 points per game. Not too shabby. Not too bad. 50 penalty minutes as well. So still, he's able to put up over 2 points per game, and he's still playing the physical game. He still does take his share of penalties. And I don't think you have a problem with that if you're a fan of the player and the team, because you're saying, you know what, yeah, he took a penalty tonight, but he also scored a bunch of points. Now, he's CHL player again, which is announced today. It's part of the reason I said, yeah, now's a really good time to start doing draft profiles, and this is a good place to start. Again, I did Askarov earlier in the year. There are a couple others I've done, but in general, this is starting the official look at the draft and who's available, and he's number one. November 9th through January 11th, he had a 14-game point streak, and of course, in the middle, he went to the World Junior Championships, and he was the MVP as Canada won gold. Not too bad. And he scored around 2 points a game there as well. So, World Juniors, where you're up against some pretty strong opposition, Lafreniere showed he's the guy. One thing about being a number one draft pick is you're going to have a lot of people excited, and then you're also going to have that group of people who are saying, this kid's not that good. I can't wait until he gets into a big game and he falls on his face. We've seen it with Lemieux. We saw it with Crosby. We've seen it with Ovechkin. We've seen it with a lot of players throughout history that now that we have hindsight, we can say, they were just great. But when they started out, there was definitely that share of fan base and fandom that said, I can't wait for this kid to fail. So there are those who will look at Lafreniere and go, I don't think he's that good. And yet, the term of whether he's going to be a franchise player or generational, I've backed away from the generational conversation for almost 2 years now, and I'm keeping it at arm's length, and I don't want to have that conversation because what my definition and what other definitions are different. So I'm just going to stay out of it. But he does conjure that word for some people. He may be the most hotly anticipated prospect at the draft in a long time, which is why I'm wearing Ottawa. Ottawa has a very good chance at the draft lottery in 2 weeks from tomorrow of ending up with the pick that will be taken on Lafreniere. And there will be the discussions about whether or not they'll take him. Might they go with Byfield? Might they go with Stützle? We'll have that discussion because we have it every year at the draft except the Connor McDavid one, where people say, well, maybe, and then it's unless Ottawa draws 1 and 2, and then they swerve us by picking a different player at 1 and picking Lafreniere at 2, which would be a dick move to Lafreniere. But I just can't see it. Now, when looking through profiles, his best assets seem to be puck handling, speed, agility, passing, teamwork, and acceleration. Teamwork's important if you're a rebuilding team and you're trying to build yourself to being a contender, which Ottawa, according to ownership, according to the general manager, Dorian, they want to build to being a contending team a few years from now. Lafreniere would fit in if he's that good when it comes to being a teammate. And the physical side, he could be a good line mate for anybody on the Ottawa Senators roster, as long as they're not also a left winger. Thinking Brady Tkachuk's also a left winger. I was thinking back, like, I'm pretty sure Brady, they might have, if Brady Tkachuk's a left winger as well, that'd give him the best left side in hockey, potentially, at some point. Now, February 16th, he had 7 points against the Quebec Ramparts. And then March 4th, he had 5 points, which included a hat trick against the Victoriaville Tigre, which is Tigers in French. So, yeah, he showed a couple of times over that last month of hockey that he is capable of scoring a ton of points. And he's ready. I haven't seen any report anywhere saying he's not ready. In his time in the queue, 297 points in 173 games. That's an average of 1.72, including the fact he had 2.15 for his points per game this year. Again, not too shabby. And in prospect reports that I looked at, and again, I've got elite prospects that I've used, hockey prospect that I've used as well. And in everything I've seen on both websites, hard worker, plays in all situations, great passing. So it's kind of a total package. The only thing that I could potentially see as being a reason that somebody might not take him at 1 would be if a team said we're looking for a center and we felt this center was close to having the same level of talent as Lafreniere, or a team holds, say, 1 and 3, and they've got another plan in there. But I again, and I guess there could be some kind of hostage situation. I don't know. It's 2020. Why not? So I can't see him not getting taken first overall, especially since reports seem to show that his skating, which was already a strong suit, improved during his draft year. So he only seems to have gotten stronger over the last 12 months in terms of the argument of drafting him first than he was 12 months ago when he was seen as being easily first in his draft class. So there you go. Alexis Lafreniere acts surprised when he's drafted first overall in October? Whenever we get to the draft. And of course, reports are he may very well play in Europe before the draft. It makes total sense. The European leagues will be starting their regular season before the NHL does. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Watch for an NHL out in that contract, and all the best of luck to him. 2020 draft's going to be a good one, and Lafreniere should be the headliner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.